Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. I'm Paul McCarthy, and today I'm joined by Katie Knapton from Physio Fast Online. Katie, it's great to have you with us today. Could you just start off by telling us a little bit more about your business, please?
Yeah, nice to see you, Paul. So I'm Katie, and I run a company called Physio Fast Online, which basically just provides physio via a video. So it really is as simple as that, and people get a little bit confused. But it's a video consultation, so an expert physiotherapist at your fingertips, and I have a team of physios supplying the sessions. So that's all.
Okay, and how long have you been going for?
Oh, right, yes. So we set up in 2016. So this is all pre-COVID. So everyone assumes we got excited about COVID and set up quickly then. But actually, it was something that I started before because I recognized that people need to know where to go to get the right sound advice for all their musculoskeletal disorders. So that's your bones, your joints, your ligaments, your tendons, all those common issues or sports injuries that people have. And I was thinking, where do people go? So I suddenly realized that actually video consultations are a hugely useful and valuable piece. And so I set up in 2016, and I sort of went out to angel investors and got some investment, which seems so long ago now, but and I have done a couple of funding rounds since, but I got some people who really believed that what I was doing was the right thing. And so we've been going through since then, and we've had a few changes, twists and turns. And like any business owner, you have to travel in whatever direction seems right, and it's not where you necessarily started. So initially I just thought we're going to solve all the problems, go straight B2C, and everyone would obviously come to us for some sound advice, information, and how to manage things. And then you have reality checks, and you realize that people don't know what they don't know, and if they don't see the value in what you're offering, they're not going to come to you, and they don't know that you're there. So we now do a lot more B2B work and certainly employee support, because it's pretty recognized that return on investment, if you supply for your employees some direct physio advice, it makes a huge amount of difference. So that tends to be where we're going, but we're also working with Boots, who have an online health hub, which supplies directly to their consumers, and we're working with them to bring to that sort of awareness, that health and well-being piece, which can be a little bit of tick box, but that is direct to their customers, and hopefully that's going to continue to develop and grow. So there's some quite exciting things going on.
So it's different markets then, really, isn't there? You've got your B2C, you've got actual businesses as well, and Boots as well. So you're spread quite nicely across. Where do you see the real growth area for you?
I think it probably is that employee piece.
Right.
It's that classic thing. We've sat on a number of employee wellbeing platforms, which sometimes I'm afraid seem to be just tick the box, where the employee is expected to pay for it at a reduced rate, and that doesn't work. But actually, once we get employees to recognize that investing in their workforce, and especially now, there's a shortage of skilled people, we need to support them and look after them, then I see that really growing. But we also do, having said that, part of that we do women's health, so sort of perimenopause, menopausal support, things like incontinence, all those really sexy things, but need to be talked about. We just talk about musculoskeletal disorders. That's 30% of the population suffer from them. This is a huge issue, and we can help make a difference because the evidence is there. You get the right information, right advice, and you can reduce that chronicity, that long-term suffering. So obviously I'm a little bit passionate about it, which is what helps, has kept me going since 2016, pushing it forward.
So how does it work? Because I've had physio sessions, but not certainly online. There's obviously differences there. How does a session actually work?
So it's and that's sometimes still the barrier. So you're absolutely right to point that out. So basically, most physio, when you have a physio assessment, they'll have a chat with you. So they'll get a nice history, we get a picture of what happened or when it occurred, how physically active you are, how you can move. and you be able to diagnose what's going on from that. So normally you just need to talk to someone to work out actually probably what's wrong. With a video consultation, you have that advantage that we can see how you're moving, we can see what you can do, you can point to exactly where you're feeling the pain. And from that, we can get you on a specific program to recover. We could get you doing some general manual treatment yourself, but often that's not indicated, because actually we're really designed to heal. And sometimes you just need that right information, that step-to-step advice and that support to actually get you better. And you don't always need any manual treatment.
Okay, brilliant. That's fantastic. And I've never seen a business like you. So is that your secret sauce? Is this what's different from you to the competition, or do you have other competitors out there?
Well, since COVID, obviously quite a few people
Yeah.
yeah, the disadvantage of COVID is that everyone thinks they can do it. So I like to think that our secret is that it's so individualized. So rather than you organize an appointment, you've got back pain and you're just drafted off this very routine, these are the exercises that you do, whether you're Mary who's 75 or John who's 25. We really give it specific to that patient, and we give really functional goals. And so normally I'd hope you'd only have 3 or 4 exercises from us, unless you're someone who wants a whole load, and you'll really know why you're doing them, you'll know how to progress them, and you'll be supported on your journey. So it's that individualized care that I like to say that we're selling. It's quality information and quality support.
Brilliant. And in the actual development of your business, has there been any particular person that's inspired you during your journey?
I mean, I guess we could quote the old, Simon Sinek and the why. That always still useful, isn't it? And problem is that you get a bit immune to some of those books after a while, don't you? You listen to so many, you're sort of like, oh, actually, enough. So, I mean, I have got 2 entrepreneurs in my family. My father was an entrepreneur and made some decisions that at the time must have seemed quite mad, but actually ended up okay. And I had a brother who sold his software company and did some, pretty amazing stuff. So I think they probably have inspired me in terms of that. And it's always comes from within, doesn't it? Some of it. So I am passionate about people's health and well-being. My dad's 86. Well, he's actually 87 now, and he skied last year. So in terms of health and well-being,
There's hope for us
he's
all.
my inspiration.
Yeah. Is he one of your customers as well?
Well, he's certainly nagged by me, yes. Quite important.
Well, you got him on a ski slope. That's amazing. That's brilliant. And obviously over the last 6-7 years since you started your business, what do you think has been your biggest learning or learnings?
Well, I think it's having to have a bit of resilience. So, I probably didn't realize, as I said to you, you set up, I was really excited, I was really quite impressed that sort of middle-aged woman managed to get people actually investing in me. I've been very much just a clinician and not done any business side things. So learning that resilience of actually is that rocky journey that we're all on, that you have these really big highs that you think this is it now, I can sit back and relax. Doesn't happen like that, does it?
Yeah.
So it's really learning to take setbacks or things going wrong and be able to use that as a learning tool to move forwards and develop. But it doesn't mean it's not challenging and sometimes a bit of a heart sink, to be honest. But it's a resilience to push on through. And I think having that belief in what you're offering is the right thing really helps.
Yeah. Okay. And you mentioned it. You mentioned COVID a little while ago. There has been lots of challenges for businesses over the last few years, whether it be Brexit to COVID to the recent economy issues as well. What have you made any significant changes? It sounds like you were set up before. Did you make any significant changes during that period?
We probably haven't made many significant. I mean, we tend to do now more sort of health coaching as well, and we're trying to, feed out that women's health and well-being. And in terms of the elderly, we're recognizing that there's been some problems in terms of frailty, and actually if we can get people strengthening and doing the right exercises and engaging, then actually there's no reason to really your quality of life to drop off significantly when you're older, but you just might need a bit of help. And actually video consultation, I've had 90-year-olds on it, we can still help them and give some practical tips how to keep active and independent into your latter years.
Brilliant. And was COVID helpful to you? It seemed like you were well set up, but you did say that other businesses flipped as
Yeah.
much of the same thing. Was it a good period or a tough?
It was a pretty good period, to be
Yeah,
honest, and now it's just trying to find that establish that constant so that there. So we certainly, in terms of B2C, we had a huge rise during COVID, and now it's just getting that turnover, keeping on going, and finding the right avenues, which is why we're doing quite a lot of B2B work now.
brilliant. Okay, and let's look forward. Let's look into the future. So over the next 5 years, what do you think are going to be the challenges within your industry or within your business?
So, I mean, I think some of the challenges are maintaining staff
Yeah,
and also finding the right staff in the support, which, as the teams are not just the clinicians, it's finding the right people to help drive the business forward. And it's recognizing what I need as well is quite hard. So as sort of, being a sole setting up and getting it going, it's quite hard to relinquish stuff, but I need to recognize what I'm not good at, which is quite a few things, and getting the right people in and then retaining them, and sometimes having more belief in them that they actually see it in a totally different way, and that might be right because I'm a little bit in my path.
right.
That's what I see tricky.
Is your business a sort of true digital business that you have staff all over the place, or do you try and keep it?
Yeah, we,
Yeah,
yeah, and that adds just a bit more complexity. So it's just communication is key with all of that.
brilliant. And what about the other side? What are your aspirations for the next 5 years?
Well, I guess, to get that recognition that if, and potentially worldwide, there's no reason, it doesn't have to be UK based, which is the exciting thing with it, is that, if you want a trusted source or a trusted place to go for the right advice for your musculoskeletal conditions or to have a chat about how to progress things, then Physio Fast Online is your place to go. So I think it's just getting that acknowledgement that gives sound, sensible, and market leading advice.
Brilliant. And if you could start again, would you do anything differently?
Probably lots of things, if I'm honest. Although you then don't know on reflection whether some of, because you went down some funny paths, you might have been all right. I think it's just not to spend too much time with time wasters. Does that sound really cruel? But there's a lot of people who are hugely enthusiastic and will actually take a lot of your time, but they're actually not going to add anything. And I think it's perhaps being able to recognize that a little bit earlier. So perhaps be a little bit more astute in my questioning about why people are spending all this time with me, and what they're going to do with that and how that's going to benefit me or not. And perhaps being a bit blunter with people in terms of, what do we get, how's this going to work?
Yeah,
Rather than feeling flattered that they're interested.
got you. I know that makes like time vampires, I think they're called, aren't they?
I think, yeah, we're all short of time, aren't we? So
Absolutely.
it's that value of the time. But then if I hadn't been down some of those avenues, who knows? Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, we learn, don't we?
Yeah, we do learn.
As you said earlier on, resilience so important, because as you make mistakes or things go wrong, having the resilience to keep going through will help you develop. So fantastic. And what would you tell your 18-year-old self? What advice would you give?
I think I'd just say, you can actually do anything. At 18, yeah, I mean, it's tricky, isn't it? I've got a 22-year-old daughter, and I keep on saying, the world is your oyster. It really is. So I went down a very traditional path way back when, and physio was all I thought I could do. And actually, there is so much more out there, and I don't regret my physios. I trained 30 years ago, and I still love my job, and I'm still passionate about my job. But actually, I needn't have been pigeonholed quite how I pigeonholed myself, and I chose to be there. So I think it's just actually you can do anything if you choose to, and there's lots of things out there. I did a NatWest accelerator where they supported and coached you through, and you get to meet loads of other exciting people doing lots of startups and things. So I think, yeah, it's opening your eyes to other things and not just getting channeled down. But I think perhaps the new generation are slightly better at that anyway.
Hopefully.
Yeah, they might have to be as well, perhaps.
And is there any new sort of projects or things that you're working on that you'd like to elaborate on at all today?
Yeah, so we're running some pilots with a company running some large public sector organisation services. So we looking forward to sort of gathering that data and evidencing what we, well, I shouldn't sort of say it, but what we know to be true, that actually investing in your employees works.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. And if anybody wants to get hold of you, what's the best way to contact you?
So there is a contact form on our physiofastonline.co.uk website, which they're welcome to do, and then various social media at PhysioFast on Twitter and Katie Knapton on LinkedIn. Pretty easy to.
Brilliant. You're easy to find. Brilliant. Thank you. It's been so good to talk to you, Katie. Thank you so much for your time and all the very best for the future.
Thanks very much, Paul.
Thanks, Katie.